you have Tanistry Succession as an option.
There you go.
I had to deal with the rigors of Gavelkin Succession for the longest time, but I finally sorted it out towards the end, and then after I became feudal.
Oh yeah, let's see, I was listening to I'm sorry guys, we're never playing L5R. I was listening to a podcast about Princess, whoever that freaking like Hungarian princess that became the queen of the Ottoman Empire. They're talking about how in Europe the problem was that everybody was like ill-bred because they only had a few children with like a specific group of problem. And it was the complete opposite in like the Ottoman Empire, where like the succession line was just like spread out through the entire country. Very interesting. Hello everybody on the live stream. We're kicking it off. What happened last week? We're gonna have our first no technical issue game ever.
Which of course has now sabotaged us completely now that you said that.
Nope. Good vibes. Happy beeps. So
I am not an optimist.
Would someone like to fill us in on what happened last week on the Phoeni-X Files?
Previously on the Phoeni-X Files. The entire group is back together. Isawa Shujinko has studied and researched a case happening within the city of Nikasake, whereas the other Isawa, as well as Asako, meet up at an inn. At the inn, the Asako has a vision of something not quite recognizable. And then, as they continue on to Nikasaki, they are looking towards the disappearance of children. There have been plenty of disappearances within this area. It was found out that it has been steadily rising over the course of 18 years. And, fortunately for our investigators, case number 2 led directly here. Unfortunately for our investigators, they found that a healing woman that was mainly a midwife has been taken under custody and her clinic burned to the ground. The curious part is that she was taken under custody by magistrates that do not exist.
I should see if they actually have it on the yes, and the session ended with Asako Hako running in to tell you that the remains of the victim has been found. And it looks like the X-Files theme is not on the jukebox, unfortunately.
That's sad.
Ooh, might be on Fanburst though.
You'd think that with, for instance, Call of Cthulhu and all the other tabletop systems, someone would have loaded it.
Yeah, but
Oh!
You got it.
Let's lower that down a little bit. Or,
There's like, when you look at all the tabletops, it's all Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, true.
no disrespect to anybody that likes those two games, but I was reading through like an adventure path the other day, and it was just like all combat, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even like D20 combat, so I was like, I would just claw my eyes out if I was in one of those campaigns.
Yeah.
I'm actually a big fan of combat in L5R just because it's so deadly.
Yeah.
Even a peasant with a sharpened stick can kill the highest powered samurai if they happen to roll a 10 enough times.
But yeah, but that's the difference, right? Like,
yeah, in D20 combat, it's like, well, I hit this thing 30 times and oh, it just healed all the way back to full. I guess I'll hit it 30 more times.
And my favorite thing about L5R is that, like, as you take damage, you get worse at fighting.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to an actual play, and they're like describing this very gory combat, but like everybody was like still at the top of their game as far as like rolling dice, and I was like, I do not like that. I'm too young to be this big of like an RPG snob. Anyway, I'll turn that thing
I'd
off.
say you're the perfect age for it.
Thanks.
I mean,
You're right,
so
I'm
much of
just
it,
out of
though-
college. I'm like the perfect age to act like I know everything. Thanks, man.
get older, so much of it, I realize, like, it depends more about, like, the group you have than anything. Like, that's on it, like, having a good group is, like, probably, like, you could run any game as long as you have a good group and it'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I would agree with that as well. It also helps if everyone is on the same page about what type of game it is. It doesn't matter how amazing your usual chemistry with the group is if one person wants to play an anime game and the other person wants to take it, like play a serious crime drama, you know?
Yeah.
There's a friend of mine that I simply cannot play tabletop with because we have very different priorities as to how things go. They're very much the type to chuckle fuck around, and I am.
Chuckle fuck. That's a good word.
That I believe that word was spawned by the similar group of friends as to people who are completely screwing around and doing nothing of any actual import.
As far as I can tell, there's a time and place for that type of game, but if you all agreed to play a serious game, then be serious, you know?
Agreed.
And speaking of chuckle fucks, today's session opens up at the burning remains of the clinic as you guys wish to commune with the spirits before you went to check out some dead kids. So.
That we did. In fact, Isawa Shujenko theorized that the reason that Asako-san was unable to do it is that he is simply not good at communing with the spirits of fire. And if I recall correctly, someone had attempted to silence the spirits in the area, and it gave it minus 3k3 to the roll, correct?
It's minus 2k2.
Oh, that's even better. I'm going to go
Even
ahead and spend a void point on this then.
However, they've like already been drawn out today, so the team's gonna be a 15.
That's fine. Let's see here. In that case...
I'm not worried.
Oh, I'm not. Isawa Shujenko can speak to flames. I'm going to go ahead and use my free raise for an additional question, and then do... Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and keep my free raise for an additional question. That is not what I should have rolled. Hold on one second.
Up is down, down is up.
I usually roll 5k3, and then with the void point, it should be 4k2. 1 second.
There are no kami. Lu Feng was right. There we go.
I guess so. I guess I will rouse the spirits of fire, and then... Let's see here.
Yeah, the
Great
burnt out
Spirit.
wood starts to like smolder and cinder as the fire comes back out.
Spirit of fire, I seek the location of what burned this place down. But I first must know, what is it that burned this place to the ground?
A man, a dispassionate man, burnt this down by himself.
Alright, so a single man did it by himself. What was the color of the robes the man was wearing?
He wore orange and yellow robes. Oh wait, fire kami don't care about fashion. Oh well.
Out of character, does anyone else have an idea for what question to ask this thing? I'm kind of out of ideas at this point.
I can't think of anything right now.
What was his fire ring?
Can't
I mean,
think of anything right now
I
either.
did say dispassionate, so probably low.
The man who burnt down this
You're
this place of business, had they visited before?
Ooh, let me just put my hand on my chin and think about that for a few minutes. Yes.
Okay, well, those are my three questions. It was a single man that did it. I'll relay this information, of course. It was a single man who committed the act. They were wearing robes of orange and yellow, and they had been to this place before.
Farewell.
out of character. Am I there for this?
Yeah, you guys
Or-
are all gathered.
Remember if I was still like, because remember I had gone ahead to look at where the two imposters were.
Yeah, but you
Didn't,
all gathered up by the end of the night.
Didn't we come back to get you? Seem to recall.
Okay, yeah, I just couldn't remember.
Basically, you and I went our separate ways. You went to investigate that. I went for my abortive, failed attempt to commune with the fire commie here, and then I went back. Failed.
Okay.
I seem to recall that's what happened.
Yeah.
That is most interesting, Isuwa-san. I have been this matter. That with imposters already in the area, the culprit could have easily of robes to his clan. Nikasaki hub where samurai from many different clans gather. I would not be surprised if this is the work of, say, a scorpion.
It would not surprise me either. I've heard enough tales about the scorpion to know that trusting them is not a wise decision. That said, why do you believe it to be the work of a scorpion?
Well, I have seen them city, as I'm sure we all have. Additionally, I have heard tales of scorpions being able to infiltrate certain organizations and act as others. Disguise themselves and act as who are different than they are.
I see. That is indeed a possibility. In truth, the most perplexing thing is how they were able to so easily forge the man of our office. It makes so little sense unless there is somebody within the office assisting them, and I do not believe that would be the case.
May I posit an additional possibility?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Asuko-san.
We are not aware of the precise nature of the end of our predecessors' careers. Suppose that, in fact, those are legitimate mon of our office. And suppose that by whatever end to their career occurred, these fell into the hands of others.
That is a disturbing possibility, but certainly a likely one. It would make more sense to it would make more sense to kill somebody and take their badge than it would to attempt to fake one.
I will also note that our superiors have been very opaque regarding the precise manner in which our predecessors left.
Indeed, they could even be our predecessors.
That is entirely possible.
They, in the end, they did not die, but simply disappeared or left. Much we don't know.
Implications, the dereliction of duty.
It does raise a frightening number of very unsavory questions. What would lead them to do something of that sort?
This is not necessarily the case. I just was posing yet another possible explanation.
As it stands, Asuko-san, we have no other idea or way for this to make anything resembling sense. I say that it is as likely as anything else that we have found thus far.
That is a fair assessment.
Anyone have any leads or direction as far as where we should go from here?
Well, there is the remains to be examined.
The remains to be examined would be a wise next step. I cannot help but feel as if all of these cases are tied together somewhat. And one thing that draws concern is this boy that has gone missing within this village. From what I understand, he was being pushed into a life that he did not necessarily wish for, and it caused him to act erroneously, one might say. It was said that he was good friends with the monks that live outside of this town. After we have done investigated the body, I would like to investigate those monks. It is possible they could give us additional information.
I agree.
There are many things that a monk notices that a samurai does not.
Indeed.
Okie doke. So you guys head over to the field of blue flowers outside of Nikasake. As you guys are heading out of there, they're like running towards you. Comes a few, not towards you, but in your general direction. As you head towards the crime scene, these peasants head away from it, would be a clean way of saying it. They're like walking away at a brisk pace, and a few of them are like crying and covering their faces. And as you guys like come up on the situation, you see Shiba Umbeyashi is just like sheathing his sword as he sees you guys and beckons you over.
So the peasants, it didn't look like they were like running in a panic from something, right? They were just sort of walking briskly away.
Yeah, the feeling you get is that they were like being told to disperse, and they were hesitant to do so. So Umbeyashi took out his sword, and they're like, "Okay, we're gone." Would be the quickest, easiest explanation for that.
And who is again?
Umbeyashi is the fourth member of Office 34. He's like, if you don't remember him, that's okay, because he never says anything, and he just like watches you guys do your work.
I did remember that there was a fourth member.
So he's a very cheery fellow. He waves you guys over. There's a few just normal like samurai that belong to the city that are here and blocking off the place, and there's already an Edda on site to look at the bodies. You see sitting down on like a log a little bit away is she has like bad hair and an ugly face and dark skin, so you recognize that's an Edda, not Edda, a peasant girl, but she's like in very nice robes, and she's currently sitting there. If you guys were looking around for like a corpse or something, you were sadly disappointed.
Oh, so
I wonder if that means that it's ash like some of the other ones. But then how do we identify?
Oh, my fellow magistrates, thank you, Hako, for delivering the message. Hako bows sincerely to him and steps to his side. What took you guys so long?
There were matters to investigate as well.
Of course. I of course understand. And so he pulls up his obi a little bit, tightens it, and he like gestures out towards the field. There's a peasant who's talking to the Nikasake samurai. And he says, "Alright, so the situation is that man over there was apparently coming into the field to pick flowers for his beloved. When he saw that there's a man and this young child right here," and he points towards the peasant over there, and he says, as soon as he saw him in the field, he made a noise and went running towards them, but as he went, the man he blinked and the man was no longer there. And so the man made sure the girl was safe and then grabbed the local samurai in suspicion. And once they canvassed the area a little bit, they found, and he points over towards like a mat that's been set out, and there's an urn basically that's been set up. So we're hot on his heels.
I think the first thing I'm gonna do is sense void.
Cool.
Because all this talk of people disappearing all of a sudden and then reappearing and all that.
It's got you spooked.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, very nice. Everything in the universe within 30 feet is as it should be.
So nothing unusual. And what leads you to believe that this is specifically the missing child?
And are you like gesturing towards the urn when you say that?
No, he's not gesturing. That's rude.
You win this round. Yeah, he doesn't gesture either, but he says that his name's engraved on it.
You believe this to be the missing child because of a name scrawled on the side of an urn?
He nods.
I want to do an investigation check on that as well, personally. I want to read and see if this is what this guy actually is thinking.
Oh, okay. But he's your comrade.
Yeah. But if he's my comrade, then that means he has no goddamn sense. And there's something fishy about that.
Yep, Umbayashi believes that what he said was correct.
My investigation role is more going to be about like surrounding area of the place.
So you're looking the place over, basically? Yes? Sorry, I didn't hear whatever you were saying. You're just like canvassing the area?
I can't hear you, bud.
Can't hear me?
There we go.
Okay, there you are.
Now I can hear you.
Oh, I don't know what happened. Maybe the mic moved or something. I'll take a look around the area.
Okie doke. So it's a beautiful field of blue flowers. It's springtime. It's in the night, but the moon's very bright, so shining down these petals. In the middle of the whatchamacallit, the field, there's sort of a clearing in the sense that over the course of like repeatedly over days, for the course of like several hours, these flowers have like had something put down on them, and so they're kind of made like a blanket basically, and there's that impression there. And I'm sure if you like look a little bit, you'll see that it's like discolored, a ruddy brown color.
Where the blanket was?
More like the blanket of flowers is, yes. There's no blanket, but the flowers have been like compressed.
Oh.
And the surface isn't like a ruddy color, but if you like that thing where if you get a stuffed animal and you do its fur one way, if you just like roll the grass the other way, the underside of it's the ruddy color.
I'll bring this to the other magistrate's attention.
And Umbayashi nods and says, "That's where the peasant found the man and the girl."
Okay, that's enough to go on. I'm casting sense again, this time with Earth.
Cool.
Or is it something else?
Ask your question again.
Or is it something else?
Referring to what?
The red color, the ruddy color.
Oh yeah, that's you've probably cut people before. It's definitely like blood.
Yeah, gotcha. Isawa Shujinko will put his hands within the dirt, not the red dirt, but the one nearby, and then summon a spirit of Earth to try and speak with. He has questions.
You're always so close to losing honor, but then you correct yourself. Is that what that 18 is?
Yep, that is the 18. I should have raised for more, but I didn't know that I would get an exploder.
An exploder. All right. The earth awakens at your fingertips.
Coming of Earth. Within the last few turns of the sun, a murder was committed here. A boy and a girl. What is the thing that cut them down?
The girl's still alive.
Oh, my apologies. Then just the boy then.
Let's see. Earth cares about materialistic things. Wanderer.
This wanderer, what direction did he leave after he cut down the boy?
South.
Okay. With that information, I will make a hunting roll and see if I can find any trace footprints or anything that could potentially lead to where this person is going.
Okie doke.
Could I? 'Cause I don't remember what the assisting roles are.
Oh, I also let them know that that's what I'm doing, and that it was said that a single wanderer cut down the boy and then he headed in south. And that's what I'm searching for. So I just don't look like I'm looking at the ground for no reason now.
Sorry, I'm looking for the rules for assisted roles.
I'm doing the same right now.
All right. Well,
Is it something like every raise I take, he gets an unkept die?
I don't think it's anything that nice. I don't think that L5R assists to rolls actually do all that much.
yeah.
Because I seem to recall basically trying to figure out at one point what it would take to reliably hit the TN for a sacred weapon. And it's absolutely ridiculous, even with a team of Caillou engineers.
Now, I may be wrong about this. I don't have the rule book in front of me. But from what I remember, you can try to assist somebody, which essentially they just give a plus bonus equal to the number of ranks you have in that skill.
That does sound correct to me.
Yeah, that's okay.
However, yeah, but I don't think that either of you have any hunting skill, do you?
I have one.
We're at 22.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it, 22.
Yeah, you check around a little bit. You become Aragon, and you can tell where the hobbits were laying. And yeah, you managed to find a trail of footsteps leading to the south.
Yeah, it is combined ranks is the bonus. It's just a flat bonus of ranks.
I'll go ahead and motion for Asuko and Asawa-san to come over here and then point out the footprints that I found and then say, he claims that there was a girl that is still alive. Where is she now? Perhaps we could question her to figure out exactly who it is we are going after before we go after them.
Umbeyashi points over towards the girl sitting on the log. That's her there. And again, she is a ugly peasant girl who's wearing a very nice sort of robe thing.
Shujinko will go over to her and then say, "Hello, I am Isawa Shujinko. I am a magistrate, and I am here to provide as much assistance as I can within this case."
Make an investigation roll real quick. I'm sorry, I thought you were done with that sentence.
Oh no, he's trying to basically calm her down, but I can do the calming after this roll. So, bloop. 32.
32. One day, somebody will call a raise. I'll be happy. Alright. So she's a peasant. She's wearing this very nice, not very nice. It's not fit for the Empress, but, for a peasant, it's very nice. She's, been washed recently. Her fingernails and toenails have been clipped. Her hair's been, braided up to look very nice. There you go. Yeah, she seems calm enough. She looks over at Umbeyashi and says, he wouldn't let my parents see me.
And I apologize for the necessity of that. What is your name, girl?
One of these days, Jordan. Kyoto.
Well, Kyoto, I am Isawa Shujinko, and I am here to figure out what happened here. May I sit next to you?
Of course.
Shujinko will sit next to her, and then sigh, and then look out into the distance, and then say, Kyoto, tell me exactly what it is that happened here.
Okay, she squints her eyes and says, well, I was having a nightmare, as I often do. And that man, the man woke me up from it. And when I woke up, we were in this field. And he was, he offered to take me down to the river and get me cleaned up. And he gave me this beautiful dress. And
Kyoto, the stream. Did you dream that you were in a white room, being watched by many eyes, while chained to a tree?
She says, not a tree, but like I'm in a lake there's no water in it. It's all reeds, and the reeds are just wrapped around me and pulling me down into the ground.
I assume that in this dream that you are unable to move, correct?
Yes. She nods.
I have just a quick question. Was she inside the radius of my spell when I cast?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to double check.
You claimed that this boy was here waiting for you, and that he had a robe for you. Did he have a history of treating peasants with such kindness?
She shrugs. I've never seen him before tonight.
Gyota, I am sorry to say, but I am having some trouble with the story that you were presenting me. If I may, you claim that you simply woke up here with no recollection as to how you got here. You also claim that a samurai gave a peasant an extraordinarily fine robe for one of your station. And then what? You still have not told me how he met his end. You still have not told me how anything from that came to pass.
Well, she never said samurai. Let's see. Well, he had me wash myself in the river, and then he, put me in the robe and, braided my hair very gently, and he said that, he knew that I had nightmares and that he was going to cure me of them. And so, he said to do that, I had to lay down in the field of flowers with him, not in the biblical sense, just like lay down. And he said he would cure my nightmares.
Describe this man.
Very dark skin. His hands were very calloused. He had lots of scars on them. Pretty ugly. He spoke with a weird accent, and he wore the robes of like an acolyte, basically, for a monastery.
Can you mimic his speech?
She shakes her head and says, "I'm just a child." She can't.
I thought she was older. Like,
No, she's like 7.
oh.
Oh, I wasn't aware about her being 7. I thought that she was much older. I've been interrogating her like an adult. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I thought she was like 12 or 13 or 14 or something. Okay.
Yeah, I was personally thinking 13 or 14, but anyway, now that I know that she's 7, that makes this a lot simpler.
I'll do Goo Goo Gaga speech next time you talk to a child.
You said that his skin was dark and that he had many scars. And that he also commanded you to bathe in the river. Could you show me to the spot in the river where that occurred?
She shall nod. And that will involve you guys leaving the site. Is that okay with everybody?
Well, first things first, I'm going to mark the area where the tracks are that I found because I'm not going to try to re-find those again. Going to mark it with a setting of stone as to where it was, and then get a general idea based on some landmarks where it would be in case those stones were to be moved.
Okie doke.
Yeah, that's fine. I also wanted to ask her. Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
I've got nothing I can think to do here right now.
Okie doke. Umbiashi keeps Hako with him, and it's gonna keep the place secure for you guys. And thusly, you make your way from here to here. Oh, down this way. Ooh, I bet there's a marker function. Whoop. Ooh.
And if I remember correctly, this area right here was the local monastery, right?
Yep.
Well, a man in monastery robes covered in a bunch of scars and really dark skin. I wonder if we're going to find somebody by that description at the monk place.
Could be.
Does seem like a reasonable assumption.
I ask her. I said, "Do the scars look like lines? More like, or waves?" So, like, out of character, I guess I'm trying to ask if the scars were like burn marks, cuts.
I'm trying to think of how to describe from a child's point of view. Yeah, not. There was a lot of scars. It just looks like he's gotten beaten up a lot in his life.
I see. Had you seen this man before in Nigasaki?
She says no.
So I assume we're at the river now?
Yep.
All right, well, this is an easy one for me. I'm going to go ahead and cast Commune with the water, and hopefully it'll be able to give me a pretty clear vision about what exactly happened here. I'm going to go ahead and make one raise for additional clarity, and I should probably... one raise for additional clarity, and then one raise for another question. So 3 question, 1 additional clarity.
Cool.
That should have been keep 3, but it still does it, so whatever, I'm fine with that.
That 23.
Yeah, that should have been 5 keep 3, but I'll take 22, it's fine.
So my role, I just want to investigate the surrounding area. I'm kind of looking to this. I'm kind of looking for like signs of that white powder or anything like that.
Okay. What were you saying, Ken?
I was going to say you can just treat that like you rolled those extra dice, but you just chose. You are not required to take the dice.
That's right. Very cocky of you, Jordan.
So cocky.
Okay, so a fish peeks its head out of the river, and you raise your eyebrow for a second, and you realize it's made completely out of water.
Alright, since the water usually talk within the form of still images, I'll just go ahead and ask, and then say, within the last few turns of the sun, a small girl, age 7, bathed here. She was with a man with dark skin and scars all over him. I want a clear picture of this man.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. And the the fish jumps out of the water, and as it does, like, the water stays behind its trail, and it like dives back into the water, so it makes an arc, and the arc becomes like a mirror that you're looking into. And with that, you get an image that is exactly how the girl described it, but now your character knows exactly what he looks like. And you know what? He looks, he's ugly. He looks beat up, but he has a sadness to him. He doesn't look like an evil person, per se.
Is it like clearly a monk?
He certainly looks out of place in the robes. He's like a big guy, and so they're like too small for him, basically.
Okay. Let's see here. All right, so out of character, guys, I got 2 more questions to ask this water spirit. I basically just wanted to figure out exactly what this guy looked like. Do you guys have any additional questions you want the spirit of water to answer?
I'd ask about what contamination might have been brought off.
Great spirit of water, was there anything about this man that was corrupted or tainted? There seemed to be holes around him. Anything that did not seem like us Rokugani usually look. Was there a spiritual imbalance within them, essentially?
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. The water's the hardest one for me. So you get an image of the man, and there's like a glow. You know, it's the same image that's been up on like the mirror, and from behind him you get like a pure sort of glow. And then after that, he like puts his hands on like his head, and he looks like his head really hurts, and he like, crumples up to his knees as he's like holding his head.
So in the light of purity, he seems to feel pain. That's interesting.
What does this mean?
If I had to guess, Asuka-san, it means that up until recently, he was a pure and good soul, and then something has taken hold of him. He shrinks away from the light now, holding his head as if he is in pain. It reminds me of how minions of a certain lord react when they see Jade.
I have a quick question. Because I can't remember. Water Kami, do other people see it as well?
I believe it's just the caster, but I'm not 100% on that.
I think so too, and I shouldn't have, I acted as though I had seen it, I suppose.
For water calming, I'm gonna say other people can see it, because that's like the only one that makes sense to me.
Asuka-san, Isawa-san, do you happen to think of anything else?
There is the possibility that there is an alternative explanation here. As a side, it seems like Asako is turning into the man of alternative explanations.
You're Mulder.
One could interpret what we have seen slightly differently. In that perhaps this man is in fact, as he said, purifying this girl of whatever contaminated. but that in doing so, it brings him great pain.
Or perhaps he brings the corruption into himself. Rather than curing anything, he simply takes it upon himself.
Indeed, that could very well be.
Perhaps we could ask the kami if they have seen this individual before.
Great Spirit of Water, were there other circumstances in which you saw this man with other people doing the same thing? Were there others who were bathed in this river at his behest?
And the kami shows you a young peasant boy. Or not a young peasant boy, a young samurai boy. And that's all.
Does it match the description of the missing boy?
Yes.
Asako-san, Asawa-san, the footsteps that I found were headed south. We had to head south to here in order to find them. And south from the location that we were is the monastery. I believe it would be wise to go and have a word with them.
That does seem prudent.
So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and head on up over. Well, hold on now.
Yes.
There is also the chance that those footsteps lead elsewhere, and that it was simply placed there to lead us to the monastery. However, it would be wise for us to find it regardless. We must speak to the people there next, regardless of the intent of someone walking away up there. In the sake of thoroughness, we may return so that I may track it properly.
Ken, what's your favorite monk order?
The Shinmaki order.
Yeah, wouldn't it just be crazy if that was like the order that was hanging out? It's not. That would be so weirdly placed. The like order that doesn't care about politics is like the one that.
Out of character, I'm pretty sure that these are the monks of Asanawo. The description matches. They like physical pain in order to make themselves stronger. They typically ritualistically scar themselves. It seems like a fit out of character. But in character, I don't know that.
Who knows, man?
It's always possible, though, that this is not a typical monk for this particular group of monks.
He is a wanderer.
I turned to the peasant girl. Oh.
Hey, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Turn to the peasant girl, Kito. Did you know of a midwife from the city named
She looks confused and shakes her head no.
whoever? Do you take a medication regularly?
She shakes her head.
In a that is digested, though not used for cooking.
She shakes her head no.
Well, that is all the questions I have.
So this monastery is on the nicer side of things. This is a nice town, so it's easy for them to get donations. It's late at night, but they're monks, so when they see you guys are coming, the place livens up a bit, and the head abbot comes out to meet you. He gives a great bow and he says, "Oh, honorable samurai, how can my humble temple be of use to you?" It's an older man.
We would like to have a look around. Magistrates for the Phoeni-X clan.
He looks aghast for a moment. He goes, "Oh, is there are we suspected of a crime? Anything I can do to help you is."
Be at ease, honored father. We simply have some questions. We are in need of identification of a certain person and to look around here and see if there is anything that may connect it to you. May we speak to you in a more comfortable area?
Of course, and he invites you guys into his private chambers.
I'm going to. What would I be able to roll lore theology to try and figure out what kind of these are?
Yeah, go ahead.
Could I also make that roll? And I also want to make an investigation roll to see if I notice any other monks that fit the description of the one that we are looking for as we go through here.
I'm gonna let the. Never mind. Yeah, you go ahead and roll it too.
Wow.
That was even worse somehow. Actually, I'm gonna use one of my rerolls on that. That's a terrible failure.
I don't think anybody's made a theology roll yet. There we go.
I had rolled investigation by the river. Oops. And I didn't get anything like a description from that roll.
There really wasn't much to see. You found some muddy footprints. He'd gotten the girl that night, and so they were fresh. And so I guess his sandals have mud on them would be the good from that roll.
I also rolled 40 to see if I could detect anyone matching the description of the man we were looking for as we walked through the monastery.
Let me see. This is a temple to the kami who got killed. As I quickly Google his name.
Oh, the one that got killed within the Lord Moon's stomach.
Ryoshin, right?
Yep, Ryoshin.
Yep. He's the guardian of Mido, so this is a temple to him. As you look around, you know about this order. They perform. Basically, they perform cremation ceremonies for. Everybody has to get a cremation ceremony, but they give a little bit more public ones for free to families that can't really afford places to honor their dead. So they've got their own little crematory here and a place to hold wakes or whatever the tradition here is. That's what they're all about. They help people shepherd their dead into the realm of waiting so that Emma O can judge them properly.
Well, that doesn't sound suspicious given that we've had a ton of missing kids cases over the last couple of years.
And was that, what was the 40 investigation for?
The 40 investigation for as we were walking through the temple, because he's heading us to our private chambers. I'm looking over and seeing if I can detect basically anything out of the ordinary, but particular focus is paid on trying to find somebody that matched the description of a dark-skinned, scarred man.
The temple seems to be up in good shape. Nobody's really up at this time other than the skeleton night crew basically. And among them you don't see anybody, and a few other people who got woken up in the commotion, but among them you do not see a dark-skinned scarred man. And this fellow leads you into his very humbly chamber, painted chamber. He's got his own little private shrine. Yeah. It's very great.
I'm going to be on the lookout for a vase matching the vase of the
Ooh, damn, that was a good one. I should have thought about that.
And matching the ashes. How was the name placed on the ashes, on the urn?
It was like engraved on it.
In stone, kind of thing,
Yeah.
or etched
Is it
into
stone
the
urn, or is it more a ceramic?
Yeah, it's more of a ceramic type thing.
into the ceramic.
Yeah, I'm sure roll an investigation for that. If you would.
Yeah, sorry, it's. I was making my way there.
You know, lots of urns in this place. Who knows? And so once you guys are placed in the head abbot's monastery, he says, "Okay, anything I can do to help you guys? Anything at all, I am."
Certainly, honored father. I just wanted to start off my questions with the most prominent one that we have for you today. Would you like some tea?
I believe as the host to you three, I should be the one asking you that.
If you would care to get us tea, then we would be most obliged.
Yeah, he goes to work setting that up.
As he's setting it up, Shujinko will relax a tad and look as if he is truly relaxed here. This is nothing more than a simple stop along a much larger investigation train. That's the general presence that he's wanting to emit to this poor old man.
Look at this guy trying to get a tea ceremony out of the out of the evening.
Now, honored elder, are you aware of the disappearances that occur within this town?
He is not aware, as you guys are aware that your clan is really doing their best to make sure nobody's aware.
Well, I'm sad to say, honored elder, but we are currently seeking a young boy at the age of 14 that happened to be quite popular within your monastery. He was quite well loved. He was, from all intents and purposes that we can tell, loved and had no enemies whatsoever. He was the son of the daimyo. Have you met him before?
Yes, of course. He's gone missing? Why has no one been notified about this? I'm sure we'd have plenty of people here who'd willing to help in the investigation if we knew about it.
And certainly we may indeed call upon you for that, but as of right now, I simply have questions about him. He claimed that he was plagued by a recurring dream. Had he ever spoken with you about that dream?
Not in detail. He told me he had nightmares, and so, we suggested some meditation exercises that might help him clear his chi.
Ah, indeed. And in truth, as a priest, I am well versed in interpreting dreams. However, I am interested to see what your interpretation of his dreams would be. He claimed that he kept dreaming that he was in a white room, chained to a large tree, unable to move, with many eyes looking at him from the distance, scrutinizing him. What do you believe that meant, honored elder?
He kind of furrows his eyebrows for a second. He looks at you kind of confused, and he says, "This is the boy who said he had that nightmare?"
That is correct, honored elder.
He goes, "Oh, that is okay. Sorry, it's just we have an acolyte who told me he had the same dream."
I would like for you to bring that acolyte to us so that we may talk to him as well. After this, of course, I have more questions for you, but any acolyte who has had that dream or anyone similar to be chained to something and being watched or unable to move, I would like to speak to every one of them. Honored Elder.
Well, to my knowledge, it was just the one.
May I ask, do you have any water-related rituals for purifying nightmares? Or particular sect?
We mainly focus on fasting and meditation.
Within fasting and meditation, it is expected for you to be rather clean, yes? Do you use the river south of here for your bathing as well as your drinking water, cleaning, etc.?
Yes.
Another question. There is a person of suspect in this case, and I wish for you to tell me if you know of anyone of this description, even if the description is only partial. This a large man with dark skin and many scars upon his face and his body. He is not a pleasant man to look at. He looks like he has been in quite a few brawls within his lifetime. Do you know of anyone of that description?
He nods his head and says, "That sounds very much like, and forgive my white man Japanese, Sanju," which is, you guys kind of furrow your eyebrows at that because that's not actually a name. That's like the number 30. SAN, then there's like a dash, and then JU, yes.
I understood what you...
I would very much like to speak with Sanju, as I would like to speak with the acolyte that you had mentioned had a similar dream. Where is Sanju at this moment?
Oh, they are one and the same. He rests with the other acolytes in the acolyte room.
Shujinko will narrow his eyes slightly at this and then say, "I believe that is all the questions that I have for you, Honored Elder. However, my companions here may have more. After you have answered everything, I very much would like to speak with Sanju."
Very well.
Your facilities here, and physically kind of indicates the in back. Do they find frequent use?
Yes, I'm afraid so. Unfortunately, the nature of life is that people die.
Indeed.
Tell me, you're not specifically dealing with funerary rites beyond simply the act of fulfilling the imperial decree. How detailed records do you keep your duties?
Attachment to the physical, paperwork. We keep our ceremonies to the liking of the Empire, but unfortunately we don't keep very heavy paperwork on the matter. Each family, after the cremation, they get an urn from our temple with the dead's name engraved on it. But other than that, I'm afraid that's really all the paperwork there is.
Does your temple do the engraving and the urn crafting themselves?
Yes, we do. We're almost completely self-sustaining.
We see some of the urns.
Of course. The the urn room is just right next to the acolyte room, so we can see that on our way there.
And
Anything from you, Ken?
I'd mainly wonder whether there's any better records of the supplies associated dealing, or at least a general count. But I'm guessing not with the answer to the first.
Well, when you put it that way, there might be a ledger of like when their like temple is scheduled for the meetings. So there might be old records of families mourning and stuff like that. When you put it that way.
Is there anything I'd need to roll to get access to those?
I don't know. I really want somebody to roll calligraphy, so maybe.
Oh, I have calligraphy.
Well, guess
I
who
have-
has the
I have an
calligraphy
emphasis
skill?
in calligraphy.
Well, the guy who asked the question's gonna.
Oh
be
God!
Hey, Ken. Next time you should allow me to infuse something with the spirits of fire so that you may roll and keep an additional 3 dice on these rolls.
Yeah, Jesus, that was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, apparently there's just a lot of. They're like always having people, so there's just a lot to dig through.
when we go to the urn room, I want to see, obviously, if the urns match. I also want to see if the handwriting or whatever in the etching is the same.
Sure. We're there. It's a beautiful pottery room, full of clay and stuff. This is where we make and prepare our urns. That's the kiln over yonder. We have a few samples over here, and if you make a calligraphy roll, you'll see that the handwriting on these are very very beautiful. Like it's straight up calligraphy and very well written. The urn for the boy is pretty haphazard. It's like someone got a box cutter and carved a name in there.
I'm untrained, so I will spend a void point.
If I may, real quick.
Yeah.
Due to the nature of connecting things, Isawa is going to start muttering something onto a scrap of cloth before then handing it over to the other Isawa.
Okay.
It's a picture of a dick.
Well, it's a scrap of cloth, and then he'll hand it over and then say, "The spirits of fire will assist you in this endeavor while I speak to 30. So yeah, out of character. Now you can spend a void point and roll 6k5 instead, or I'm not sure what your intelligence is, but an extra 3k3 can't hurt on this.
Okay, so my intelligence. So what would it be?
Is your intelligence 2 or 3?
3.
It would be a calligraphy, so whatever you got in there.
So it would be 6k5 or 6k3?
It adds 3k3 to your roll. So if you're untrained, it's usually your intelligence, but treat it as if your intelligence is 3 higher than it usually is.
A void point to make that roll. Oh, and I'll... Shoots, I forgot to declare. I haven't seen it. Oh, and I should have taken a raise.
Is your intelligence at 6?
It's 3.
Then you should have rolled 6k6.
Oh, I thought that's what I did roll. Okay.
You rolled 9k9, it looks like.
It's chill. We take off at 5, 13, and 4, and we're there.
Roll it. And
Still-
this time I would like to declare a raise.
Okay. Alrighty. You have the handwriting on the 2 vases is certainly different. One of them, the one in the temple, is beautiful calligraphy. The one outside is not very well put together. These vases, you can tell, are made by somebody with like lots of experience. So it would be unlikely that a full-fledged member of the order made the sloppily like carved one that you saw earlier.
Okay.
Which is to say, the urn that you found is still a beautiful quality urn, just like the engraving on it was bad.
So I'll relay that information. Is it the same kind of... Are the urns identical? Right.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless they get like a custom order or something like that, they're all...
Are the urns here identical to the one in the field?
Yeah.
I mentioned that to...
Honored Elder, for the sake of our investigation, may we have... I surely would not want to deface one of your magnificent urns, special as they are, but may we have some clay and a carving tool for the next part of our investigation? I assure you we will return the tools to you post-haste.
Of course. And he gets you some, puts it in a
Thank
doggy bag, gives you a chisel.
Thank you, Honored Elder. May we speak with Sanju, please?
Of course. So you guys enter into the
Before he goes away, I would say, Sanju, that is a curious name, is it not? It is. Is it his given name?
Oh, we're not entirely sure. He came to the monastery, about a week ago, and that's the name he gave.
Out of character, also as well, I believe that Isawa would know that whenever someone joins the Brotherhood, they throw away their previous name, and then the name that they use from thereafter is always different. So, probably as far as he's concerned, Sanju is his name.
Yep.
Okay. So he came a week ago. I'm looking to see if that does that match up with like...
Yeah. The boy disappeared 3 days ago.
Because there was the entity that was moving through the Phoeni-X lands. Does that match up with...
Yes.
Like, okay.
And so you guys enter into the acolyte room, where there are many sleeping monks to be, and just people down on their luck who are working for the monks for a little bit are in here. They're all dressed in simple, shabby robes, and he points over towards a mat towards the back, which is So you guys approach it. You find that it was empty, and around it, his worldly possessions are scattered around it, as if he was hastily. As you guys enter the door, and there's like a little curtain type thing that has kanji on it, and so you have to like spread that apart and poke your head in as you guys are entering into the room. Anyway, that's not important. And so his personal belongings are like currently scattered around his mat. It was like he was packing up, but something made him skedaddle.
Can I make an investigation or a hunting check to see if I can find any hints of exactly where he would be going? I'm guessing that since this is probably clean, there wouldn't be any footprints or anything upon the trail.
Correct. What's everybody want to do, and then we'll go down the list.
I clearly should sense void again.
Okie doke.
I also want to do a investigation check and see what it is exactly he left behind. Anything in particular, if there's any letters or any notes that he happened to write anything on, or in fact anything that he wrote on that we could use to match the writing or the carving on the urn with his handwriting, essentially.
Okie doke. And Mr. Tasai?
Are there like any windows in the room, like any possible exits? I want to make sure he like didn't skedaddle like 2 seconds ago.
No, this place is a fire hazard waiting to happen. It is the door that you came into, no windows. Comfort is not very high on the list of whatever.
I'm gonna ask another one of the monks, one of the acolytes. When did this man leave?
They were all asleep.
Were they asleep, or they were all asleep when he left?
You just woke them up. Both, it seems.
Okay. How late into the evening is it?
It's moving towards the morning. Lady Sun will be rising in just an hour.
Okay.
Okie doke. Shojinko, if you'd like to make that investigation.
What's the base TN for it?
Depends on what you're looking for.
Essentially, I'm looking for... basically, the idea is that I want to look around the area and figure out if there's anything in particular that he left behind that could indicate he's coming back, or if he's indeed leaving permanently, and if there's anything that he happened to write down anywhere so that we could match his handwriting to the handwriting on the base.
Yeah, okay. That's going to be a 15.
I'll go ahead and make 2 raises on that. I'll go ahead and re-roll that and spend my last void point on it. That's also my final re-roll for the session, for the record.
Cool. There we go. Yeah, you check around his mat. He has looks like all his worldly possessions are there. There's a well-worn but clean knife of a simple make. There is some muddy sandals by the side. There's a journal with sloppy calligraphy written in it, or like a pillow book, who knows? That he writes down his life things. There's also something that might be of interest. As with 2 raises, you notice that there's a strange sort of dust on, at the bottom of his bag. And with that, Kenneth, would you like to cast Sense Void?
Yeah, the dust definitely means sense void to me. Do.
Gnarly. So, you see him put his hands in the low light, some dust, and you go, all right, I'm going to check that out. So you go to Sense Void, and you find something strange. You're usually like very concerned about what doesn't exist, but as you cast Void, you realize that there's one extra figure in the room that exists that with your normal eyes you can't really see. Roll a like keep your cool roll. Whatever you think is best
Cool,
for that.
man.
Well, that's probably willpower.
Hey, good enough. So you sense a hidden presence, and you manage to not give away any tells that you can see him.
So is this actually feeling a life,
Yes,
or is it a gap?
it exists. You feel alive.
How to relay this information? Let me see what else I have for spells that I might be able to use that for.
So it's like a.
I'm going to try something. Maybe.
Oh no.
That probably won't work though. There's a very low probability of that working.
So out of character, there's like of space.
I feel something alive that none of us see.
Right. Okay.
So, the image is there's the room and there's people, and then Ken puts on thermo binoculars, and as he slides it in over his view, there's like a figure that wasn't there.
I'm going to try casting Minor Binding.
Ooh.
It won't work. It won't work if they're not tainted.
Oh, okay.
But if it does, then it'll really work.
Let's see. It's pioneer fear, but it comes among you can just for me feelings, use face line present minor final creatures, simply for present only Lord's Hair for the Purdue, spells cast successfully, calls forth manacles of iron, formed from earth spirits to trap the vines, creature any physically helpless in the duration of the spell. What a weirdly worded spell.
Yes.
So I guess it detects if they're tainted, and then it summons the manacles. So, Isawa, you hear a fellow Shugenja chanting in his own language of the kami, and that kind of gets your attention, and then he finishes chanting, and nothing really happens.
Well,
I will be on alert.
And as everybody kind of stiffens up, Ken, you feel the presence slowly making its way towards the entrance.
okay, now I have to do something.
It's creeping.
Well, if that didn't work, Jade Strike won't work either.
I just really want the image of you shooting Jade Strike into like thin air and just shooting right through it.
He's Asako is very Jade Strike happy.
Pocket sand.
Okay, this is ill-advised. I'm going to draw my wakizashi and throw it at the figure.
Miramoto bow, yes.
I believe that's athletics. I will void point to treat it like I am trained. This still is probably going to miss. So treat it like I have a rank.
All right, let me check his TN. Oh, wrong page. It misses.
Asako-san, do you see something or have you gone mad?
Yeah, I think my reaction would be less.
It's there. There's someone there.
And with that, you see the curtains that were on the door frame. They suddenly like, without, as if the wind, a very harsh wind, threw them aside. They're thrown aside as Kin senses the entity quickly trying to get out of his 30-foot range.
We'll run after it and try to like dive through the curtains.
All right, let's see some athletics rolls here.
Tackle whatever it is.